And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Cinderella, based on the story of Cinderella. Once upon a time, there lived a young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 5 ugly, mean stepsisters named Tasha, Hannah, Rena, and the twins Ellie and Emmy. Tasha, Hannah, Rena, Ellie, and Esme made Cinderella do all the chores. Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all, said Tasha, Hannah, Rena, Ellie, and Emmy all together. One day, the king of Tripleville's messenger said, Hear ye, the king of Tripleville is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Stripling. But Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are... Tasha said, He's going to marry me. Hannah said, No way, Tasha. He's going to marry me. Rena said, Both of you are wrong. He's going to marry me. Ellie said, All 3 of you are wrong. He's going to marry me. Emmy said, Are you kidding, sister? He's going to marry me. Later, Cinderella is so sad because she cannot go to the ball. Suddenly, Cinderella's fairy godmother asks what's wrong. Why are you crying, Cinderella? She asks. Cinderella responds, I can't go to the ball and marry Prince Stripling. The fairy godmother said, I can help with a bit of magic. She waved her magic wand and chanted the magic word. Triply, trappily, triply, true. And then Cinderella's chores are all done, but the fairy godmother said she's not done. He then said, Cinderella, go fetch me a good old pumpkin. Luckily, Cinderella has 3 pumpkins. The fairy godmother waved her magic wand and chanted the magic word, triply, trappily, troppily, true. And then the 3 pumpkins turned into a handsome coach drawn by 6 strong horses. And then Cinderella's do-rag and red dress turned into a gown and crown. Cinderella said, I've never seen such a triple-tastic crown and gown. And get a load of my glass slippers. The fairy godmother said, Have fun, Cinderella, but I would warn you. Return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken. Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Stripling was wondering who he should marry. Tasha, Hannah, Rena, Ellie, and Emmy say all together, He's walking towards me! But he's not walking towards any of them. But he's walking towards Cinderella. Cinderella and Prince Stripling dance together. But later, Cinderella realized it's almost midnight, so she scurried out of the ball. And she's running so fast that she lost one of her glass slippers. Prince Stripling was so worried. He afraid that he might never see Cinderella again. So he traveled around Tripleville to find her and brought the tiny glass slipper with him. He knocked on the door of the house where Cinderella and her ugly, mean stepsisters lived. Ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can you try on this glass slipper? Tasha first. Hannah second. Rena third, and the twins last, but none of their feet fit. Suddenly, Prince Stripling noticed Cinderella singing. She exclaimed, Prince Stripling, is that you? Prince Stripling said, Of course it's me. Frila gets so excited because she's happy to have Prince Tripling back. And he doesn't need to put on the glass slipper back on Frila's foot because it's so uncomfortable. And they both live happily ever after. The end. And now, Andrew's Doers, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents for the 3000th episode of Andrew Does Everything special, 3000 Cinderella. It is based on the story of Cinderella with a bit of a twist. Once upon a time, there was a young girl named 3000 Cinderella. 3000 Cinderella had 13 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters named Tasha, Hannah, Rena, Ellie, Emmy, Tilly, Hannah, Ophelia, Uniqua, Sasha, Alana, Natalia, and Dahlia. All 13 of them made 3000 Cinderella do all the chores. 30,000 a wench. Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all, said Tasha, Hannah, Rena, Ellie, Emmy, Tilly, Hannah, Ophelia, Uniqua, Sasha, Alana, Natalia, and Dahlia all together. And then one day, the king of Tri-Melopham's messenger arrives and says, Hear ye, the king of Tri-Melopham is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Tri-Melopham. But 3000 Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are. He's going to marry me, said Tasha, the oldest stepsister. Hannah said, No way, Tasha, you're wrong. He's going to marry me. Rena said, Both of you are wrong. He's going to marry me. The rest said, All three of you are wrong. He's going to marry me. Later, 3000 Cinderella is so sad about not going to the ball and marrying Prince Tri-Melopham while doing chores. Suddenly, her fairy godmother arrives and Anne asks 3000 Cinderella what's wrong by saying, Why are you crying, 3000 Cinderella? In which 3000 Cinderella responds, I have lots of chores to be done, but I can't go to the ball and marry Prince Tri-Melopham. 3000 Cinderella's fairy godmother says, I can help with a bit of magic, and waves her magic wand. Because of that, 3000 Cinderella's chores are all done, but her fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, 3000 Cinderella, go fetch me a pumpkin and some mice. Luckily, 3000 Cinderella has 3000 pumpkins and 6000 mice. 3000 Cinderella's fairy godmother waves her magic wand again to turn the 3000 pumpkins into a handsome coach, and the 6000 mice into horses, and 3000 Cinderella's red clothes into a gown and crown. 3000 Cinderella says, I've never seen such a Tri-Melopham-tastic gown. Get a load of my glass slippers. Fairy godmother, how can I ever thank you enough? And climbs into the coach. 3000 Cinderella's fairy godmother said, Well, you can't, but have fun, 3000 Cinderella. But I would warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken and everything will change back to the way it was before. And gave her a clock to tell her what time it is. 3000 Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, the king of Tri-Melopham said, Good evening, everyone. My son, Prince Tri-Melopham, was wondering who will marry. Isn't that right, son? Prince Tri-Melopham responds, Yes, father. Suddenly, 3000 Cinderella arrived at the ball just in time. Tasha, Hannah, Rena, Ellie, Emmy, Tilly, Hannah, Ophelia, Uniqua, Sasha, Alana, Natalia, and Dahlia say, "He's walking towards me!" all together, but he's not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards Frifa Cinderella. Prince Troy Mallovey then asks, "May I have this dance?" And Frifa Cinderella responds, "I would be delighted." And Prince Troy Mallovey and Frifa Cinderella danced happily together. But later, Frifa Cinderella checks her clock. It's almost midnight! So she scurried out of the ball, and she was running so fast that she lost both of her glass slippers. Prince Troy Mallovey was so worried that he might never see Frifa Cinderella again. The king of Troy Mallovey comforts him by saying, There now, son. I think we'll be able to find Frifa Cinderella." And so, Prince Troy Mallovey and his father began their journey all around Troy Mallovey to find Frifa Cinderella and brought the 2 glass slippers with them. By the time they arrived, Prince Troy Mallovey knocked on the door of the house where Frifa Cinderella and her 13 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters that lived. But instead of Frifa Cinderella, they find Tasha, Hannah, Rena, Ellie, Emmy, Tilda, Hannah, Ophelia, Uniqua, Sasha, Alana, Natalie, and Dahlia. Prince Troy Mallovey and the king of Troy Mallovey then say, "Ladies, we have a favor to ask. Can you try on these glass slippers?" Tasha is first, but her feet are too big. Hannah is next, but her feet are too small. "Nonsense! It fits!" she said. The rest did the same, but none of the feet are the right size. Suddenly, Prince Troy Mallovey and the king of Troy Mallovey noticed Frifa Cinderella singing, "The glass slippers fit!" And so, Frifa Cinderella, Prince Troy Mallovey, and the king of Troy Mallovey lived happily ever after. The end. Andrew's Doers, I hope this was a fun story for the 3,000th episode of our show, of our channel special. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Andrew Does Everything. And buy our merchandise at andrewdoeseverything.com. And then I have one more thing to say. Take care, Andrew's Doers. Bye.